News that's coming in at the moment now, which is the Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, who's now said that the government is trying to avert such disasters in future. Bodies taken out from the debris. Probe on the black box data is now being decoded as we speak. This is the Aviation Minister Chandrababu Ram Mohan Naidu, who's now saying that high-level committee is now probing this crash. Now listen into what the Aviation Minister said.
Testing is also happening on one side so that the bodies can be identified and be given to the respected families. So the government of Gujarat is coordinating with that. They have been there on the ground since the time of the crash, and they have been facilitating with all the efforts, all the measures that are required from their side. So once the DNA testing is confirmed, the bodies are being given to the respected families. And we are hoping that process also gets finished as soon as possible, but the documentation and the procedure needs to be followed. So according to the time that needs to be taken, we are ensuring that there doesn't be any lapse in the process or the protocol that needs to be followed. We do have a very strict protocol, robust protocol, which we follow every time. But even after, when the incident happened, we also felt that there is a need to do an extended surveillance into the Boeing 787 series. So from the DGCA, we have also given an order to do the extended surveillance for the 787 planes. There are 34 in our Indian aircraft fleet today. I believe that 8 have already been inspected, and with immediate urgency, all of them are going to be done. And furthermore, as the investigation is going to proceed and the report is going to come, whatever necessary steps are needed to be taken, we are going to ensure that without any hesitation, we are going to improve every necessary thing that is going to come our way to improve the safety. I've announced it before only that we are going to form another high-level committee before. And immediately we have constituted the committee also yesterday under the chairmanship of Home Secretary. And like our initial thought, we wanted to have experts in the committee from various sectors and not less than any joint secretary level. So accordingly, we have constituted the committee. We have circulated the order also of the high-level committee which is going to investigate this crash. So like I said, the Home Secretary is going to be the chairman of the committee, Secretary, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Additional Secretary from MHA, one representative from the state of Gujarat where the incident actually happened. One important update from the technical investigation which is happening through the AIB is the recovery of the black box yesterday around 5 p.m. from the site. The AIB team believes that this decoding of the black box is going to give a in-depth insight into what would have actually happened during the process of the crash or moments before the crash itself. So we are also eagerly waiting for what the results or the report is going to be once the AIB goes through its full investigation.
My colleague Amit is now joining me on the story. Amit, very crucial press conference held by the Aviation Minister. He's clearly said that the timeline has been given. The high-level committee will submit the report in the next 3 months. The government will make sure that thorough investigation takes place, and he also very clearly said that whatever the investigations will point towards, the government will very strictly take action against it.
Right, Aishwarya. Breaking it down for our viewers right now, three very important aspects that has been very clearly mentioned by the Ministry of Civil Aviation and the Minister Ram Mohan Naidu. First, the black box has been found. It was found around 5 p.m. yesterday, as we reported as well on India Today. And the decoding of the black box will give the exact details of what happened in the final moments of AI 171. That has been officially said and confirmed by the Minister of Civil Aviation as well. Number two, the AIB investigation, that is the Aircraft Accidents Investigation Bureau, has been already launched. They are looking into all possible aspects of the crash, and that investigation will be carried forward as per the set protocol. The high-level committee has been already formed. The report by the high-level committee will be submitted within 3 months. That has been already confirmed by the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which means that even the AIB investigation will be done in a fast and thorough manner, because the high-level committee investigation report will certainly depend also on the AIB input. Third and the most important aspect, Aishwarya, there are a lot of concerns among the flyers in India and abroad about Boeing 787, that is the dreamliners. And India wants to make sure that the people, the passengers, do not feel concerned or threatened after this, in light of this particular instance.
Right.
34 of such Boeing are already operational here. Audit of each of them will be done. 8 audits, security checks, enhanced security checks of Boeing 787 has been already done after the accident. Back to you.
Thank you, Ahmed, giving us all those details. My colleague broke down the press conference, which was just a couple of minutes ago held by the Aviation Minister, very clearly saying the investigation is on. The data from the black box has been retrieved and it's been decoded. News that's coming in at the moment, it's Air India that is all set to dump flight number 171. Air India and the Air India Express, both of them all set to discontinue AI 171. Ahmedabad-London flight will now be AI 159, retiring AI 171 as a mark of respect for the victims. So this is crucial news which is now coming in. Air India all set to discontinue Air India flight 171. The Ahmedabad-London flight from now on will be Air India 159. Listen in to the Aviation Minister. My colleague Vidya is now joining me on the story. Vidya, Air India to do away with flight number 171. They are retiring flight 171 as a mark of respect for the victims.
It's not just, a mark of respect, but remember, when you look at this incident, which has had such devastating effect on people across India, and people from abroad as well. The airlines generally do on a precautionary side, make sure that, that particular, there is general practice that airlines generally stop particular flight numbers after a fatal accident until and unless there is a clearance. This is what the experts have been telling us, is that, generally if there's an accident of one particular airline and, if they are quite old, then it is generally, and what if it looks like that it could be a fault, so that is one of the reasons why of that particular airline, they do,
right.
That particular series is generally stopped for a while until and unless a report gives a clearance for it.
Thank you, Vidya, giving us those details. Ahmedabad-London flight from now on will be Air India 159. Air India has decided to do away with the number 171. Now, investigations have intensified to unearth the actual cause of the fatal crash. The Aircraft Accident Investigative Bureau has already reached the crash site. The Union Civil Aviation Minister held a high-level meeting with key stakeholders. The officers came from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, top officials from the DGCA, the Airports Authority of India, all of them were present in this very crucial meeting. A high-level, multi-disciplinary committee has also been set up. This committee will examine the causes behind the crash. The committee is being chaired by Union Home Secretary and comprises of members from the centre, the government, the state government of Gujarat and the aviation sector. All of them together will now review the existing SOPs and recommend a comprehensive measure to prevent and to manage such incidents in future. The committee will now need to submit the report within the next 3 months. The black box, which is extremely critical in crash investigations, has been recovered from the rooftop of the charred student hostel building. Along with it, the emergency locator transmitter has also been retrieved. A black box is the brain of the aircraft. It is placed at the rear near the tail of the aircraft. It records critical flight data and cockpit voices even during crashes or explosions. From the warnings that the pilot gave to the sudden change in altitude, the black box can reveal aircraft's final moments and bring out the truth. India's civil aviation body has also ordered an immediate safety audit of the entire Air India's Boeing 787 dreamliner fleet's investigation.
Give us a sense to our viewers, as you now have had more time to digest and look at the visuals very carefully. What is this wing flap theory that you believe in some way stopped the flight from getting the necessary thrust, power and altitude?
Well, what we can observe from the video of the airplane is that, at least for the initial takeoff roll, both engines were producing sufficient thrust to go in flight. You can see that as they take off, the dirt off the side of the runways is dusting up. So they're at full power when they're taking off. They have a normal rotation. What doesn't happen after takeoff is the gear never comes up. And that would happen about 50 to 100 feet. The pilot flying would request the gear to be raised. That never happens. The aircraft shortly after that loses lift. And you could lose lift for a number of reasons. It could be a dual power loss. That's, in my mind, the least likely of the occasions, because we can see that the engines are operating fine as they do the takeoff roll. The other would be that something changed the configuration of the wing so that the flaps were not in a position to create that extra lift. If the airplane loses lift while the gear is down at that slow speed, it's going to do exactly what you saw on the video, which is it's going to begin to waddle and descend, and just you're kind of in a power on descent until it impacts the ground.
Investigations at the moment are taking place. The visuals that you are seeing on your screens are of the crash site. Now, this is the site where all the investigations are now taking place. The cranes that you see, big cranes, are now being used. These cranes are being used to remove the debris. Also, these cranes are being used to remove the tail of the aircraft which got stuck inside the hostel. So that also at the moment is now being removed. So these are big cranes which are being used. This is the crash site, the site where the crash took place. The debris now is being cleared off, and huge cranes have been pressed into action so that the debris can be cleared off. The rubble that can be seen, that rubble also is now being cleaned out. Now, in the past 11 years, 11 nightmarish plane crashes. Only twice did we see that there were survivors. But in the 9 other crashes, everyone on board on that fateful flight died. Watch this report.
When a plane crashes, rarely do any of its passengers or crew survive. In the past 11 years, in 11 nightmarish plane crashes, only twice there were survivors. But in 9 other cases, everyone on board the fateful flight died. July 2014. A Malaysia Airlines Boeing 777 with 298 people aboard took off from Amsterdam for Kuala Lumpur, but it never reached its destination. En route, it was shot down over eastern Ukraine as fighting raged between pro-Russia separatists and Ukrainian forces. The plane exploded, crashed and burnt on a flowered wheat field, killing all 298 passengers and crew on board. 28 December 2014. An Indonesian international flight from Surabaya crashed into the Java Sea on its way to Singapore. Airbus A320 crashed en route due to pilot error and a faulty rudder system during a storm, killing all 162 people on board. 24th March 2015, German airliner Airbus A320 was on its way to Dusseldorf in Germany from Barcelona in Spain, but it crashed into the French Alps midway. The co-pilot locked the captain out of the cockpit and caused the crash, killing 150 people on board. The co-pilot suffered from suicidal tendency, but he hid it from the airline's authority and continued with his assignment, causing the horrific crash. 31st October 2015, Russian carrier Metrojet crashed in Egypt's Sinai Peninsula shortly after departing Sharm el-Sheikh in northern Egypt. The Airbus A321 was headed for St. Petersburg in Russia, but the 224 on board got killed en route and never reached the destination. 29th October 2018. An Indonesian airliner crashed into the sea with 189 people on board. The Boeing 737, owned by the low-cost airline Lion Air, went down after taking off from the capital Jakarta. It was on its way to Pangkal Pinang in Indonesia. All 189 people on board were killed in the crash. 10th March 2019, a flight to Nairobi crashed in a field 6 minutes after takeoff from Ethiopia's capital, Addis Ababa, killing all 157 passengers and crew. 8th January 2020. Iran's Revolutionary Guards shot down a Ukraine International Airlines Boeing 737-800 shortly after it took off from Tehran airport. All 176 people on board were killed. Iran's civil aviation body blamed a misaligned radar and an error by an air defense operator for the incident that never allowed the 176 people on board to reach Kiev that fateful day. 22nd May 2020. The Pakistan International Airlines was carrying 99 passengers and 8 crew from Lahore. It never reached Karachi as the Airbus A320 crashed into the Jinnah Housing Society located near the Lahore airport, killing 97 of 107 people on board. 21st March 2022. China Eastern Airline plane crashed in China's Guangxi province on its way to Guangzhou. The Boeing 737-800 took off from Kunming with 132 on board. All of them were killed in the crash. 9th August 2024. A passenger plane carrying 62 people crashed outside Sao Paulo in the afternoon. The Brazilian airliner was on its way to Guarulhos city from Cascavel. All 62 people on board were killed. And on 29 December 2024, a Boeing 737-800 crashed at Muan International Airport in South Korea. The flight operated by Jeju Airlines was hit by a bird. Landing gear deployment failed and collision with a runway barrier killed 179 of 181 on board. The flight from Bangkok had reached its destination in Muan County and was about to land when the incident happened and the flight crashed.
Now, a day after the horrific air tragedy, our country's worst fears are now being realized. The official death toll behind AI-171, the crash that happened, it now stands at 262. Now, this includes 241 on board the ill-fated aircraft and 24 on the ground. But these are not just numbers. These actually represent the unfulfilled dreams and hopes of 265 souls. Now, the loved ones, they are the ones who are left behind. They are picking up the pieces. Closure for them still remains a very distant hope. And all that's left with these people are promises, photographs, and the last goodbyes that are now frozen in time.
When Air India flight A171 crashed into a residential area just seconds after taking off from Ahmedabad airport, it did not just claim over 250 lives. It destroyed families.
मेरा भाई चला गया पांचों में से
cruelly ended dreams and left a trail of shock and grief in its wake. Families like that of Dr. Pratik Joshi settled in London. Dr. Joshi was joined by his wife, Dr. Koni Vyas, who had just resigned from a clinic in Udaipur and was set to relocate to the UK along with their 3 young children. Overjoyed at the prospect of a fresh start, they took a family selfie to celebrate a fresh start, but ended up being their last memory together.
कभी डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट में आता ही नहीं था वो। उसने कहा कि डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट है, बच्चे को तकलीफ नहीं पड़ेगी, तो मैं डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट मैंने कहा ले आजा बेटा, अच्छा रहेगा बहुत ही। जैसे ही वो उसके सब इमिग्रेशन वगैरह क्लियर हो गया, हमने यहाँ वहाँ से उसे कहा पापा बहुत गर्मी है बाहर, आप चले जाओ घर पे। हम यहाँ आ गए, यहाँ आके फिर उसने वीडियो कॉल किया, फिर उस बच्चे इतने खुश कि पूछो मत।
इतनी खुश थी वो ये करने को।
Another selfie, which turned out to be the final memory, was 22-year-old Kinnal Mistry taking a quick snap with a father who had come to drop her off at the airport. 24 hours later, her father was back, wearing the same t-shirt to collect his daughter's remains.
वो इसको ट्रीटमेंट करने का था, इधर तो ट्रीटमेंट करने आई थी 1 महीना के लिए डेंटिस्ट के वहाँ। इतनी खुश थी वो ये करने को।
आप ये कल का ही फोटो है?
कल का ही मैं इधर हूँ। देखो उसने भी स्टेटस भी ऐसा डाला था कि वो मिलेगी नहीं हमको।
He will be forever haunted by his daughter's last Instagram story. Until next time, miss you all. The realization now dawning that there will be no next time.
मेरा पापा मुझे पापा वापस लाए। एयर इंडिया वाले को बोलो 1 करोड़ मैं दूंगी, मेरा पापा मुझे वापस करो।
Those who have grasped this reality, no amount of commiserations or compensation can take away this searing grief.
और ये 1 करोड़ में खरीदोगी मेरे पापा को। आप क्या मजाक बना के रखते हो एयर इंडिया वाले? कुछ सुनते नहीं है एयर इंडिया वाले। 1 करोड़ देंगे, 1 करोड़ देंगे, क्या 1 करोड़ देंगे वो? मैं आपको 2 करोड़ दूंगी, मेरे पापा मुझे वापस कीजिए। मेरी मदर भी वहाँ थी, मगर तो वापस कीजिए। 2 करोड़ मैं दूंगी आपको।
Khushbu Rajpurohit had married in January this year and was set to join her husband in London for the first time and begin a happily married life. Her father had recovered this video of her entering the airport with the WhatsApp status, Ashirwad Khushbu Beta, going to London. The daughter never reached the intended destination.
मेरा भाई चला गया 5 बजे।
Akash wasn't even a passenger. Only 15-year-old, he was working at a chai stall when the plane crashed into his street, killing him instantly and sending his mother to the ICU.
आपके परिवार में और कौन-कौन है?
मैं, मेरा पापा, मेरी बहन, मेरी मम्मी और मेरा भाई चला गया अभी। मेरा भाई चला गया 5 बजे। कोई नहीं जाने देते मेरे भाई से मिलने के लिए।
आप माँ से मिल पाए?
माँ से नहीं मिल पाए, माँ की तबीयत बरोबर, मेरा भाई से नहीं मिला हुआ अभी।
Suresh Bhai is an auto driver who has lost his son on the ground in the crash. His wife, suffering from 50% burns, doesn't even know yet of her son's death.
उनका बेटा वहाँ टिफिन देने गया था। जैसे टिफिन देने गया वैसे ही प्लेन क्रैश हुआ, तो उनकी वाइफ तो पूरा जल गई, 50% जल गई है। बेटा वहाँ से कूद के पूरा आग में चला गया, तो बेटा तो पूरा डेड हो गया।
Goodbye, India. Goodbye. Thank you. 10-hour flight back to England.
It is not just Indians in mourning. A young British couple, Jamie Meek and Fiongal Greenlaw Meek, recorded this Goodbye India video, happy at the prospect of a homecoming that never happened. In this same video is also possible the final video of former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who was also confirmed dead in the crash. The stories are unending. a newly engaged couple returning from a family celebration in India. A woman and a baby returning from attending a condolence meeting of a father-in-law. For the families of the 241 flyers and many more on the ground who never came home, closure remains a distant hope. We remember them and we mourn them. Bureau Report, India Today.
On this note, it's a wrap on this bulletin. Thank you for watching India Today. For more news and updates, you can log on to indiatoday.in. You can even download the app. This is me, Aishwarya Paliwal, signing off.